Hello and welcome to the channel. Now recently we've been giving our normals a bit of a breather, but we think it's time to ramp up the Chef Skills Challenge as we near the end of the competition. This is what the leaderboard looks like at the moment, and today we're going to be focusing on ingredients we have to hand and minimising waste, just as would be done in any professional kitchen. Sounds fun, right boys?
What's your idea of fun, Evers? Remind me.
I mean, cameras are rolling. I'm not sure. Now, we've recently had a Pass It On live event, and there's always lots of food involved, so we have some left over. Typically, our food team put it to good use. Today, that's for you three to do. There are 2 challenges today, which means 2 badges up for grabs, but there is an advantage to going first. So to make it fair, you're going to pick your names out of a hat. Baz, you're up first. The other 2 of you can come and join me. Badge number 1 is Preservation Badge. So at certain times of the year or after certain events like Pass It On, we will have an abundance of ingredients. We would like you to pick one or some of them to preserve for use in a few weeks' time. What you make is entirely up to you. It doesn't have to be the most original idea, it just has to be done well. Off you go. Whatever Barry does first cannot be repeated by the other 2 normals. So if Barry was to make a jam, for example, you 2 aren't allowed to make a jam. That is why there is an advantage to going first. But you've also got more thinking time on the side, so, you know, swings and roundabouts.
Lucky's going to leave us anything good. He's the very definition of an only child.
With a brother.
With a
and
brother.
yet he has a brother.
Yeah.
Right, talk to us, what are you thinking?
One thing I do at home quite a lot to save some of my herbs is I turn them into butters.
Compound butters, brilliant.
Basically, take what I've got, chop it up, mix it in with a softened butter, stuff it back in the fridge again, and then you've got kind of like slices of flavoured butter ready to go whenever you want.
That's a really good, simple option.
Great
isn't it?
idea. Are you making your own butter?
Hell no.
I mean, if you've got some cream that's on the
It's
term,
lazy.
that's a good way of using up a pot of cream if you don't want to consume it all now. For this badge, we want to see you demonstrate it so that you can apply it at home or wherever, but it doesn't have to be making tons of it.
I've got 3 thoughts going on, and I'm trying to work out which one I know the best.
Yeah, I've got a good option that I would use more,
Yeah.
don't know how to do.
So when I turn this out, I'll turn it out onto some cling film, create a really thin sausage, and then I can cut little bits off at a time. I usually use flavoured butters on fish.
And that's such a great use if you are cooking maybe a whole fish or a fillet of fish, and just as you serve it, slice off some cold butter and pop it on. And by the time you get it to the table and you're digging in, it's just beginning to ooze and melt into that fish. Wonderful. Especially at this time of year, ideal for barbecues as well.
Chili and chive butter, now into a freezer. Slice at your own convenience.
Excellent. Mike, you pick to go second. Your preservation badge time starts now.
So for me, the things that always run out are the herbs. So wild garlic, parsley. Ebbers, you made a green, vibrant drizzle oil, and I'm going to attempt that.
Yep, this was something I did, I think, a mystery box against James a while ago. It's a brilliant way of saving herbs, so you have that fresh herbiness for weeks or months to come.
And just out of interest, did you win that battle?
No.
Right.
So, big pan, lots of oil. I've got to heat that up to, I think I remember, 120 degrees.
Think about the preparation. You got some leafy ends, you got some stalky ends.
Do I want the stalks in? If I'm going to blend it all up, it's preservation. All in.
I think this is a better way of doing it. Essentially what you want to do is drive off the moisture as it hits the oil. You'll get lots of steam, lots of spit back. Where and how are you going to use it?
I think it will work really well. Fish, chickens, meats, pastas as a zhuzhi drizzle. Hoppa!
Smells great already.
It does
That
smell
wonderful
excellent.
garlic smell.
I'm just going to go for it because some bits are starting to turn.
And that, I think, is the only thing I would have done differently. Absolutely use the stalks, but maybe put them in first, because they will need to drive off a bit more of that moisture before the finer leaves, which might start to discolour.
Yeah, that is so logical. And Mike's not particularly logical, especially in these scenarios. Oh. Please work.
And then what you're going to do?
So after a minute, I'm going to turn it down and put it in a sterilised bottle.
Again, to keep that green colour, what might you also want to do?
Cool it down. Either way, I think it's going to taste nice. I don't know, for a first attempt, I'm quite happy with that.
See what happens when it's cooled and settled. He's got hand on hips thinking. He's had the longest time to prepare. Your preservation badge time starts now.
So I'm going to stick in my comfort zone and make pickles.
Great.
Different proper pickles, not a quick pickle.
I'm going to do a quick pickle because I don't have time to make a 3-day pickle.
Well, that's not what I expected straight away from a pickle.
Why pickle ordinary things when you can pickle unordinary things?
It's true, I've never heard of mushrooms.
No.
First things first, I'm going to salt my veg, and then whilst that's salting, I'm going to get my pickling liquid all going.
So why salting?
Draws out the moisture.
Why is that important?
Draws out the moisture, allows us to put more moisture in through pickling liquids. Ben's shaking his head, but I'm not giving him eye contact, and therefore the satisfaction.
I've got this. I think you'll find is the water is what will turn the food as well. So by getting rid of that water, it means it will preserve for longer. Am I right?
Yes. And how will you know that?
Because you won't die when you eat it.
But also the eating quality. If you don't salt it, you'll have soggy pickles. So it keeps it crunchier as well because you're drawing out some of that moisture.
What's going in there, mate?
Cider vinegar, caster sugar, and I've also got mustard seeds and turmeric because these are like bread and butter pickles.
Draws all that moisture out.
Oh, lovely. Get that in there.
He's just squeezed all that water out. All in the pan. I don't understand what this man is doing.
So I cut it all nice and thinly so that I still want that crunch, even a month down the line when you spoon them out of the jar, put them on a burger, put them on the side of a dish.
And what's the final thing you're going to do before they're ready?
Take them off the heat, let them cool down into a sterilised jar, and then they can sit in a fridge for, months.
Ideally, you want it all submerged, and the other way of doing that, which Jamie chose not to do, is just pop in like a ramekin or something just to push everything down. So it just a weight on top of your pickles, especially important if you're doing things like fermenting. Happy?
Happy.
Brilliant. Should we bring on badge number 2? Round 2, badge number 2 is upcycling food. So often here in the studio we have leftovers or leftover ingredients that haven't yet been turned into something, and the food team very often turn it into a delicious lunch for us all. All 3 of you will get half an hour each, and we want from you something to serve the crew.
Anything.
Anything from those ingredients, sweet or savoury, that make the crew go, wow, that's awesome for lunch, thank you very much. And we'll get the crew to pick a winner at the end.
Oh no!
I've been such to them today.
Every day. Your half an hour starts now. If you do want things from the dry store to embellish, we're happy to let you use them. And in the fridge, don't forget you've got yoghurt, you've got some milk left, you've got some pastry left, all things left over from Pass It On.
Barry, what are you thinking?
Leek wild garlic and asparagus puree with a cream of some sort. Then crispy mushrooms on top, mixed in with some rainbow carrot.
It's a lot to do in half an hour.
It is, isn't it? I'm so used to doing a soup base at home, but I would use onion, garlic and a stock cube as cheats. But here, you've got enough fresh veg to bring all that flavour.
How confident are you, Baz?
Confident in terms of I can put a dish together, but I'm a little bit nervous about it packing a punch in flavour. I'm not sure the crew will go, wow, Barry, I didn't expect that from you.
I don't think Kush would mind us saying it's not always wow and surprise, but it is always delicious and super satisfying. And I think that's the way you should be thinking.
The other thing I saw knocking around was half a can of coconut milk.
That's because the other half can went in lemonade drizzle syrup, which was going to be perfect for our showstopper dessert. It certainly adds an extra flavour profile, coconut as well. If you wanted the creaminess without the flavour, you could always blend your green stuff with milk. You've had half your time,
Okay, cool,
15 minutes gone.
So now I think I'm going to prep some carrot ribbons for a bit of colour.
That looks great, mate.
Lovely colour on it, and the way that knife went through suggests it's cooked, but still with a bite. 8 minutes left. Great use of carrot because it seems to go an awful long way, and it's then nice and fine, so it's actually a pleasure to eat raw rather than just crunching through carrot sticks.
So I think I'm going to add the mustard in with my carrots to make it a quick vinaigrette to go with it. So mustard and oil, which I think very well with the rest of the asparagus and the mushroom.
4 minutes.
He's burying it. And we all know that this could go one way or the other.
He's definitely not leaving himself much time to plate up.
It's only smoking badly. I think it's the spices.
How long?
Less than 2 minutes.
That is a bed of puree.
One of those sharing salad platters that everyone digs into. We had actually very similar for lunch today with cauliflower.
Oh, Barry.
Layers and layers and layers with 35 seconds remaining. There's an awful lot going on in that plate. 3, 2, 1, stop.
Or stop.
Or stop.
Or
The theatre of sprinkling something as the crew come to feast. Time is up. Given the whole conversation is food waste, I didn't want those burnt spices that he's had smoking in the pan to go to waste. Your 30 minutes starts in 3, 2, 1.
I think
No, you're not going to do
I'm going
what
to
I think you're
attempt to
doing.
make
No.
a very non-traditional okonomiyaki pancake.
yes!
Mate.
Big red flag, no cabbage. We have fennel, we have this stuff,
Frisée, so it's lettuce. So, plain flour, eggs, and what else?
but correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the greatest thing about okonomiyaki is you can use anything in it. You just use the pancake as a foundation.
Yeah, I think the literal definition
Is
is kind of
anything pancakes
all
or something?
anything together grilled or fried.
So I've started my batter early because technically I should probably let it rest. It probably needs minimum 30 minutes, but whatever, I'll just get it done. I'm gonna put a splash of soy, a teaspoon of sesame oil, the tiniest pinch of togarashi, and then I've got spring onions. Oh, I want to do some crispy shallots as well, so I need to get those going. I saw some panko breadcrumbs as well. I could put some panko breadcrumbs through the batter. But yeah, I was thinking maybe some crispy shallots on the top if I can get them not to burn.
So I think fennel is probably the closest to cabbage in terms of its texture raw and the way it would cook, a white cabbage. But obviously you're adding an awful lot of different flavour, so a strong aniseed, whereas a cabbage is quite subtle in its flavouring.
It's going to be an experiment.
What are they?
They're big spring onions, Ebbers.
Or baby leeks, one of the two.
Same flavour profile, and I'm happy with it.
Yep, fair enough.
So I'm frying off my shallots.
Time check, you've had half your time, you have 15 minutes remaining.
Okay.
Many of the okonomiyaki batters we've done, we've put an awful lot of garlic or ginger through and keeping that kind of Southeast Asian, Japanese influence. Here, you've got the aniseed of the fennel and you've got the rawness of the leek. You've got a bit of togarashi, so I think it's kind of already delivering on that.
Okay, so that's on sort of a medium heat. Let's make a big one.
Yeah.
The challenge here is to cook it all the way through so you're not crunching through raw vegetable or raw batter before you crisp up the bottom to the point of burning.
So what do you think of your toppings?
Yeah, well, I've got some mayonnaise. I was thinking maybe I could do some togarashi and some mayonnaise and just knock up a quick squirty sauce. Smelling good. It's looking good.
Is it a pan flip or is it?
Yeah. Ebbers.
Well.
Oh, which way am I going, guys?
Very interesting method.
What am I doing?
You've got a pan,
do the
just flip it with the pan. Yeah, go for it.
Yes!
Well done.
Beautiful looking colour on one side. You got 6 minutes, still ample time. Let's make it look good.
Smallest piping bag you've ever seen.
Yeah, I only need a diddy one for this.
Brilliant.
These might be a little bit more than crispy. Cool, how long have we got?
1 minute 48.
Okay, we're gonna have to go for it.
45 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, well done.
Yes.
30 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
More of
my
this.
goodness.
I've got some katsubushi.
Dancing fish. Shaved so fine and dry, they literally dance in the heat of your okonomiyaki. 2,
Yes.
1,
He's done it.
step away
Oh, Michael.
from your plate of crew food.
Well played.
Nicely done.
That looks epic.
In the spirit of upcycling, we're drinking the beer left over from Pass It On Live.
There's never usually leftover beer, is there?
And 3, 2, 1, cook.
The power, you just
believe he listened to me.
I didn't even start the time. Always going sweet, I love this.
We don't do sweet food.
I know! I'm gonna do a mango and flat peach crumble.
Interesting. There's a few ways to prep a mango. I don't think
Never
that's one
seen
of
that.
them.
That is
I don't think that's one of them.
What have you done?
In the spirit of avoiding food waste, don't do that at home.
I'm panicking!
I mean, I know it's a big mango, but
You got this, Jay. Don't listen to the naysayers.
Mango and peach stewed down with some lime zest, lime juice, topped with oats, sugar, bit of cinnamon, and there was some leftover stroop waffles, so why not chuck those in as well? And then I'm hoping to have time to serve it with clotted cream and maybe some blood orange to freshen it up.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I love the sound of this tropical flavours going on.
Are you stewing them right down to be mushy? Do you want a bit of a bite?
I want a bit of a bite, but also it depends on time.
That sounds like a massive caveat.
Corn flour, I need to add some corn flour
Into what?
into my fruit.
Why is that?
I want to make sure that it's syrupy and it brings it together rather than being too loose.
Okay, Jay, talk us through your logic of your crumble topping.
So I want a nice sweet topping, but I'm going to have to cook it a little bit first because otherwise the other option, this is quite dry and sticky, isn't it?
Flambe that.
Flambe. Oh!
Oh, here we go.
Yay!
I have to be honest, at the moment, this is missing a couple of things that I love about a crumble. How do you make crumble, Jay?
I should do this.
So I'm not entirely sure what you're doing in the pan. Toasting the oats is a good idea. Making porridge in your stewed fruit is an interesting idea.
I thought these were hard.
No, there's
They're full of
truffles.
caramel. I mean, they're not going to blend up particularly well either. I was surprised when you said crumble them.
I've never had one of them before.
You idiot. They're delicious. Chuck us one.
I'm having a complete crisis of confidence now.
You got 15 minutes left.
No, lovely.
Come on, mate.
Jay, just commit to it.
Jay, back yourself and see what happens.
Now he's worked out butter's missing. Again, for those of you at home, if you're talking crumble, you would typically rub butter into flour, then stir through, maybe toasted oats, but some sugar, some spices, some nuts, some seeds. Wonderful.
Oh, I got a cheesecake base.
How are you going to cook it in 10 minutes?
Look at this. Yeah, go on, put it into another pan again.
Come on, Jay, you've got this.
Oh, you know when you want a really juicy crumble?
Look, the crew are salivating.
I know you're rushing,
Yeah.
but just stop and think. Are you happy with the consistency of the base of your crumble?
It could be slightly wetter.
So what are you going to do to it to make it slightly wetter before you continue ruining it?
Put some
Put a bit
booze in
more
it,
rum in it.
geezer.
No, not booze.
Yeah!
You've got so much fruit behind you. What about a freshly squeezed blood orange?
No, booze!
I'm going to put blood orange in with the clotted cream.
Excellent.
Right.
So zest it now so you've got that for the clotted cream.
Yeah.
And you've got the juice through your crumble.
Yeah.
You have...
A buttercream top.
Jay, dumplings.
Cookie dough, nice.
Yeah.
No, even I wouldn't have done that.
What is it?
Oh, no, he's got fruit on it. Oh, my
You
goodness.
need to see this. You need to see it. Mate, it's still salvageable. You've got this. You've got these. It should just be really rock hard balls of sugar.
I was just going to put some chocolate on it, actually. I've had better days.
You going with the clotted cream?
The thing is, there's nothing in that dish that won't taste good.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's what you needed.
I appreciate the effort he's going to segment an orange. 1 minute, 20 seconds left.
Oh, I see.
This is taking too much time.
This is just spectacular. 41 seconds remaining.
Oh, lovely.
Last 10,
Come on, Jay.
9.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Step away from that. Actually, doesn't look half bad. So let's get into the
Good.
sexies.
How has he done that?
I don't know.
Myself and Kush have had a good taste and a good chin wag, and we got much of the team in to get their opinions too. With that in mind, Baz, you went first.
Yeah.
You made a chili and chive compound butter, a brilliant use of putting fresh herbs and spices through butter for later use. And you froze it so that you can take slices off whenever. If I'm being picky, Rolling it in something like greaseproof paper makes life easier because trying to get the cling film off of that once it's frozen and stuck into the butter is a real pain. And I would suggest chilling it, then slicing it, and then freezing it, because trying to cut it when it's frozen is tricky. Your plate of food for the crew, everyone thought it was very inviting. We agree. I think it used the most number of fresh ingredients, which is kind of the point of this, stuff that wouldn't go on. It eats really well, it's a sharing platter. Words like clever, nice, tasty, and summery were used by the team.
Have you ever had clever used as a descriptive word
You
before?
absolute
Compound butter does get a preservation badge. It's delicious.
yes.
Well done.
And the plate of food, upcycled for the crew, also gets an
Oh,
upcycled
mate.
badge.
Well done.
2 for 2.
Good, mate. Good start. Strong
I know.
start.
I know, it's good. It's good.
Let's spin. What you've done is create a really vibrant oil with a perfect consistency, which is why I did that swizzle on a plate. If you'd seasoned it, it would be outstanding. As it is, it's damn delicious.
I did think about it and I chose not to. So I was clearly wrong.
However, your main course, I think the cooking of it let you down because the idea is really strong and you used up fennel and baby leeks, but the bottom is burnt, the crispy shallots are burnt, and it's not quite thick enough to be okonomiyaki or thin enough to be a pancake. That said, that's my opinion. Members of the team thought it was really good and would very happily eat it.
Honestly, for the state that I got it to, having no idea, I'm actually very happy with it.
Even more chuffed when I tell you the preservation badge is absolutely yours, no questions asked,
Brilliant.
but probably not on the upcycling crew badge on this occasion.
I think that's fair.
Jay, you made the pickles, which have got a wonderful colour from that purple carrot. They are very sweet, but depending on the application, that's fine. The choice of mushroom with onion with other stuff means that those ingredients you would typically cook for different amounts of time, and because they all cook together, the mushrooms are a bit mushy, whereas the other vegetables still have that wonderful crunch. They don't really work together unless you cook them separately.
Yep.
But then we came to dessert, which was a shocker of a half an hour.
Yeah.
Were you not entertained?
That we were. What you used was some of the lovely citrus fruit, some of the fresh tropical fruit, the peaches and the clotted cream, all of which have a relatively short shelf life, so thank you very much for using them up. And the team absolutely loved it. It was by far the favourite. And actually, we don't often do sweet things for a crew lunch, because we don't often have sweet things kicking around. So it more than put a smile on their faces.
Yeah, what was the crumble like?
It was nothing like you set out to make. It was not a crumble in the sense it had no crumbliness about it, but what it was chewy and caramelly and kind of crunchy, like porridge meets flapjack. The tropical fruit was cooked really nicely. The mango kind of broke down where the peach still had that slight bite to it. So, whilst the idea of pickling is a really good preservation tool, I don't think you got the badge today because they're not as good as they could be. And your ratios are a bit off. But you absolutely do get the upcycling badge because it was a firm team favourite and you used loads of fruit in it.
That has gone the opposite way to what I thought would happen.
Well done, though.
Lots of lovely ideas for making use of ingredients when they're in abundance, when they're in season, when you've got them left over, to make sure they last longer and feed happy people.
Well, they are Ebba's thoughts, but over to you. What did you think? Do you agree with him? And what would you have made to win this challenge?
And if avoiding food waste is your thing, check out our Psychic app. It's going to help you freshen up your meals, make the most of your ingredients, and improve your cooking skills. It's free to try for 30 days. All the links are downstairs. Thank you. I needed that. Just some encouragement.
Well done, Barry. But you don't get any kisses.
You don't get any love.
I've got Eva's love. It's fine.
Here you have.
Yeah.
That final zhuzh onto a dish to get a ton of flavour in.
Now, if that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what is.
He's not happy, right, Mike?